Alright, hello and welcome back to Ashgabat Cat's Let's Play That. Today we're taking a look at Tetris Attack, but not the version of Tetris Attack for the Super Nintendo, the version of Tetris Attack for the Game Boy Color. Well, I misspoke. It's for the Game Boy, of course, but it's not the Game Boy Color, it's the original Game Boy. Ooh, how do you do the cheat code if there's no L button? Well, I guess we'll have to merely settle for hard mode. And so, of course, this is not the Game Boy Color, this is just the original Game Boy. So again, we have to choose one of our Game Boy palettes for the colors. So my personal favorite is the blue palette, because, well, I kind of like blue. I don't necessarily like how some of the off things are kind of red, or this kind of weird green, but again, it's a Game Boy Color palette, you gotta make do with what you got. And so we're playing Tetris Attack for the Game Boy. Now, let's see, if you're not sure, there is a better, if you need to get your Tetris Attack fix and you are not living in the past, then there's a better version of Tetris Attack in Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. And so that I would recommend over this. But sometimes you don't want just Tetris Attack, or no, you don't want just matching Tetris blocks. You want specifically that good old Tetris Attack charm. Oh man, that's weird. Pokemon Puzzle Challenge is just so much smoother visually. Like, for example, the trash, it goes piece by piece. If you've played the original Tetris Attack, you'll know that when it reveals the pieces, it kind of goes from like left, 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 left. It goes from piece to piece to piece to piece to piece to piece. And so you can actually kind of see what you're going in a less visually intimidating moment like that. Now, one thing I do kind of like about these Game Boy Tetris Attacks is that there is so much slowdown when it's showing the garbage. So it's like ridiculously easy to follow up with garbage. It's really kind of fun, and it's like so easy to fight back. Oh, and speaking of fighting back, so obviously this is a Game Boy Color screen. It's only like, I don't know, 140 pixels wide or some nonsense. So you can't actually see the opponent's screen. So I don't think the opponent is playing a game of Tetris Attack. There's certainly not enough CPU cycles for that. So what we're getting is, there's like a little health bar. Now in Pokemon Puzzle Challenge for the Game Boy Color, this made a bit more sense because you're fighting like a Pokemon battle, and Pokemon has always been kind of health bar based anyway. And so you could kind of lie to yourself and pretend like, okay, so I'm playing a puzzle battle, or a Pokemon battle. Sorry about that, I had to cut out some parts because, let's just say, excessive background noise. Anyway, like I was saying, oh yeah, so Pokemon Puzzle Challenge is kind of set up where the menu bars, and then they take damage. And so there it's kind of acceptable because it's like, oh okay, it's like you're playing a Pokemon battle. Usually in the Pokemon games you just see the menu go down, or their health bar go down anyway. So the fact that you're not actually seeing them play and filling up their side with trash, that's a lot more forgivable. This version, I mean, it's the same concept, it's just a bit more elementary, I suppose. Well, actually, I'll be honest, I haven't been paying a lot of attention to what's been happening to their health bar. I've mostly just been puzzling my heart out. Oh, I've always loved Tetris Attack as a puzzle game that requires finesse, it requires speciality, it requires, like, knowledge, but it doesn't require patience. It doesn't require so much foresight. Well, that's not entirely true. But you could always kind of compensate for play with reflexes. It's not quite at all like Puyo Puyo 2, arguably the granddaddy, the king of all puzzle games, in that you don't need to set up everything ahead of time, and you can kind of compensate for a little bit of sloppy play with fast enough reflexes. Just like, as you can see. And then also, too, like, I do kind of like that aspect of just kind of fuddling your way around sometimes. Like, you're just working to make things appear as you go. You don't necessarily have to have everything set up 100% ahead of time, unlike Puyo Puyo 2, where if you don't have your chain, like if you don't know how to chain in Puyo Puyo 2, you are going nowhere. Whereas in this game, even if all you can do are just 4 chains, like, you're not gonna go far, necessarily, but you can, like, do a little bit of damage, I guess. You gotta love the, well, okay, so there are multiple versions of Tetris Attack. There's Panel to Pawn, which was, for whatever reason, they reskinned all the characters as fairies and then released it in Japan. That's right, Tetris Attack, technically, is not been released in Japan. Actually, you can even see this on the Super Nintendo Classic. As of the time this is airing, that has not been out yet. So let me know if there's been a SNES Classic Apocalypse or something, and I don't know, maybe it like fries your TV or something weird like that. But barring any sort of apocalypse like that, the Japanese version of the Super Nintendo Classic. Oh wow, that was actually pretty stringent timing. And you see the game over screen is pretty faithfully represented here, actually. So anyway, the Japanese Super Nintendo Classic should actually have a Panel to Pawn on it. And honestly, if I had my choice of the two versus an English language one versus a Japanese language one with Panel to Pawn, because the American one at least does not have Tetris Attack on it, well, I might just go for the Japanese one. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's my absolute favorite game, but if I had a game where I always kind of came back to play it every few years, like I don't do that with a lot of games. A lot of games are just kind of one and done. You set it down, you never look at it again. But Tetris Attack, just something about it. And it's not even like the story or anything. I mean, Yoshi's a cool character, I guess, but I don't really care for the story. What I really like, it's just the tactile feel as you go ahead and set up combos. Like, there's a bit of skill involved, like just sheer technical skill involved in playing this game. Like, in stark contrast, you could look at Puyo Puyo 2, where yes, there's a lot of mental skill required to play the game, but in terms of actual technical skill, it's relatively, like, lenient on you. I mean, of course, you're an old person with arthritic fingers, then maybe you're not gonna be, like, a world champion ace, but you can at least get, like, a few into the versus CPU. You could probably get... Oh. In my haste, I doomed myself. But you can at least get a little bit far in, just like the single-player mode on hardest difficulty or whatever. But you start playing Tetris Attack, and there are just so many technical skills. Like, something that you might not think, like moving this block from one end of the screen to the next. Like, you do have to get the timings down just right, and as you saw, I actually started messing them up. It's a talent, and it's not something I can do 100% of the time, actually, so that's kind of disappointing sometimes. But just doing those, like, little techniques, that kind of, I don't know, calms me. And then plus two, the stage with Poochie, which, well, we flew by so unceremoniously here, but, well, and also too, the music seems to be a little, you know, absent in this version. So that's kind of annoying, really. Because, I mean, a lot of the fun of the Super Nintendo version was the music. And especially that Poochie one, because the music is just so calming, and it's like, if I've gone out, had like a stressful day, it's like just playing that game, just that particular level, when I get to it, it just puts me at peace. And then I make the music all scary because I'm beating Poochie. Oh, that's right, the Super Nintendo version. So if you start clobbering your opponent, like if their screen fills up with these Tetris blocks, Tetris Attack blocks, they're not really Tetris blocks, then the music starts getting a little more hectic. Well, actually, if you fill up your own screen, the music also gets more hectic. But we brag about that less. Oh, are we on Blarg already? Well, this isn't a one-credit clear, so I'm not... There's little pressure, but... In the Super Nintendo version, well, so obviously I play on the super hard version. I think I can get to Blarg fairly reliably on one credit. But then you start getting past Blarg. Blarg himself, it's like, I find myself losing there more times than I'd like. And then Raphael Raven, That, oh man, that stupid cheating Raven. He's not as bad as Blarg for whatever reason, but I still find myself losing every now and then. And then you start getting to the Bowser minions, and that's where I just go, that's too rich for my blood. I mean, I may love this game, but I am at heart an amateur. I've watched some of the, actually, they have Tetris Attack at AGDQ and SGDQ, so that's something I never expected to see. Now granted, a lot of what they're doing is playing the N64 Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, which is sort of the same game. Honestly, I don't quite like it because, I mean, main difference between Super Nintendo version and N64 version, Super Nintendo version has a lot of slowdown. And as you can probably tell from this version, having that slowdown is kind of nice because then you can actually set up some pretty cool, crazy cool combos that like you couldn't necessarily otherwise at your skill level. But then you start getting into like the no slowdown of the N64 version, and that it's maybe a little too fast. Oh, and also too, and don't tell the emulator police this, but it's a lot easier to emulate the Super Nintendo version than it is to emulate the N64 version. I actually don't know if you can even emulate the N64 version reliably. I hear you can buy it on Virtual Console, but I don't really have a Wii or anything. I hear you can emulate in Dolphin through the Virtual Console, but that seems like there should be a better way out there. But otherwise, I mean, just the fact that other people are playing this game, and that other people are good. And, well, okay, so I've seen those people play, and they would blow me out of the water. It's a little sad sometimes looking at that and realizing it's like, wow, I thought I was the best, and maybe in your neighborhood you were the best, but then you look at the pros and you're just like, oh my god, these people have more or less dedicated their entire lives to playing this game. I could never match that level of dedication. I don't think they have. Maybe they're just really good at video games, but it kind of feels like that. Like they've dedicated their entire lives to playing Tetris Attack. And I mean, kind of makes sense. Like, what other game are you going to be playing? I'm actually kind of curious, is there a very hard level in this game? I believe the Game Boy Color Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, not only was there a very hard, there was like a super hard, I think it called it intense. There was like challenging, super challenging, intense or whatever. Oh, this Lungefish stage. It has the best music. Well, I mean, you can't expect the Game Boy Color to accurately reproduce the sounds from a Super Nintendo, but I mean, oh my gosh, the bass on that song, it's pretty darn good. Anyway, I mean, this version, it does what it can, but it's fairly limited. So like I was saying, difficulties with Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. Oh man, that's right. Not only did it have like super hard, very hard, whatever you want really, from the Super Nintendo version, it also has intense. And so intense is like basically the max. It's like the CPU is set as fast as the Game Boy can handle it. And then you just get like trash on you as fast as possible. In fact, you don't even like get trash on you. You essentially start with trash on you because it's just so fast. It is intense. Well, literally and figuratively literally. Man, those some good times trying to beat it on intense. Oh, also, well, okay, so it's a Pokemon game, so you can unlock Pokemon as you go along. And so if you do good enough, then you can unlock Pokemon. And so there are various challenges, and then you have to play on certain difficulties and make it without dying, or making... If you're on, like, super hard, then you can use, like, a certain, albeit low, number of continues. But then, once you get to intense, the game is just like, you can use as many continues as you want. We don't expect a human to beat this. And, well, I'm a human, and I don't know that I have ever beaten intense. Or if I have, like, I used, like, maybe 20-something continues or something. No, it gets pretty bad. it gets really bad. Alright, one space left, Raphael Raven. How accurately can they reproduce the music here? Wow, that is a little abysmal. Like, it's not even anywhere near the same. It's not even in the same league, really. But bless their hearts, they're trying. And honestly, if I had this on the Game Boy and my friend had it on the Super Nintendo, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I could play this and train. I mean, I get to the Super Nintendo and maybe complain that it's going too fast or something, but it's in a pinch, this'll do. I mean, there are a lot of games that when you put them on a handheld, then they are just utter trash. But this is not quite one of them. Although, I will say, Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, one advantage it has over the Super Nintendo game, even though it is a Game Boy Color game, is there's a lot more of that, motivation, I guess, that like modern games have that arcade games don't necessarily have. Like, you unlock things, you can customize things, you can choose more tailored modes. It's not just like a same arcade beat 'em up each time. Well, it kind of is, but it feels different because you're like choosing your own Pokemon, whereas in this one, I mean, you have to use Yoshi each time. I think you can choose other characters, but frankly, there's no real point. Not that there's necessarily a point with choosing the other Pokemon, but in the Pokemon, like, there's no canonical choice. It's not like you have to stick with Pikachu or anything. And in fact, I don't even think you start with Pikachu. In fact, you start with the 3 Johto starters. So already there's no, like, established protagonist. Because, I mean, which of the 3 Johto starters is the real main character? None of them. Pokemon doesn't really work that way. And so you can play, oh yeah, so each playthrough, it's kind of like you're raising your chosen Pokemon. Because the game also keeps track of the levels of the Pokemon for some reason. Like, as you use them more, then you give them levels. I don't think these levels actually do anything, but it is a number that you can control, and if you choose to, you can make that number go up very high. In fact, I think you can get them up to level 200 or something absolutely nonsensical, so I mean, just all the more reason to play. Because Tetris Attack, I mean, you can refine your skills, but after a certain point, you just plateau, and then it's like, well, what now? I'm bored of this game. But I could never be bored of this game. Alright, let's see. So now we're fighting the Bowser minion guys. So, oh no, that's what it is. Once you unlock all of your compatriots, then you can choose freely amongst them. I'll be honest, I don't really know because I just press start instinctively each time when I'm playing myself, with myself. That wasn't really a better correction, huh? Oh, look at him kind of wiggle. Oh yeah, and they even have like the little exclamation point. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm entering their lair. Whoa, it's a challenger. And it's like, how could you not be expecting that? Alright, let's see how hard these are. Oh, cool, I can choose who I want to be. But I mean, why would you not just choose to be the canonical character? Because, I mean, if you're going to do a 1-credit clear, you might as well go about doing it in the most impressive, hardest, most difficult way possible. Because if you're not doing a 1-credit clear to impress people, then why are you even bothering with a 1-credit clear? And so if you're not doing it in a way that will maximize your impressing of people, what's the point? What's the point? That was not the way to get a 6, Jane, huh? That being said, oh, well, I mean, the N64 had like more synths, more voices, more distortion, but this is a passable rendition. Like, if I was just listening to the Game Boy Advance sound or the Game Boy soundtrack for whatever reason, then I could tell what song this was meant to be. But yeah, speaking of versions of Tetris Attack that lack all personality, the Tetris Attack version for Game Boy Advance, I really don't like that, because, like, there is absolutely no personality, there's absolutely no charm. Now, I mean, a lot of the reason why I do play Tetris Attack is because of the gameplay and the visuals and the just general feel. And so in theory, like, the fact that it's Yoshi doing it, it shouldn't really matter. But just something about it missing like those familiar characters and the nice happy songs, like Pokemon, or it's Puzzle Challenge or something, Puzzle League for the Game Boy Advance. Then it's just there's not even a one-player mode. You just play like one-on-one against the computer, and you choose their difficulty, and that's, I mean, it's fun at the beginning because it's like, okay, I can just get straight to the puzzle action. It's kind of like doing drugs intravenously versus orally, because like orally it's like, okay, there's a bit of time, there's a bit of build up, and then you kind of work up to the experience, whereas intravenously it's like as fast as possible, man, as fast as possible. But then you play but I mean, then it kicks in, and then it's like, okay, that was nice, I guess. I'm bored now. Because you start playing against the computer, and you're gonna bump up the level until you start like consistently losing, but then it's like, you start losing. You hit that wall like real fast. Whereas like, in the one-player mode, at least you can take delight. Oh, did I beat the other guy? Huh. I guess this is just one of those things where like, you start playing and then you realize that you're not actually playing. Or no, you think you stopped playing, but like, you can never stop playing. And really playing becomes like an almost background action, actually. It's like, well, I mean, here I am holding a conversation while playing a, I'd say, fairly passable game of Puzzle Challenge. So anyway, like I was saying, they're so soulless, so heartless, there's nothing to them, really. And then the one for the DS, oh my god, I bought that game, I thought it would be the best thing ever. It's like, Tetris Attack, I actually love this game, this is the best. Oh, there's one for DS? Oh, don't mind if I do. And then I realized, no, I probably shouldn't have didn't, because this is terrible. I mean, okay, so it's better than Puzzle League for the Game Boy Advance. Actually, it's worse, because Puzzle League for the Game Boy Advance, at least it has the Poochie background. So if you were to squint your eyes incredibly hard, and you can even choose like some background tracks from Tetris Attack, I feel like it is fairly inexcusable that you cannot choose them all, but, well, we can't all make perfect games, so you can choose some tracks from Tetris Attack. But then you get to the DS, and it's all just like the meaningless noise from Picross DS. Now, I mean, Picross DS is a very fine game, and Picross is fun, and the soundtrack there was good, but it was very non-distinct. Like, it's essentially elevator music. And I mean, that's nice, I guess. That's nice. But it's not what I want, because you play the Tetris Attack music, and it has real personality. Like, you can feel that poor Buzzy Bee, like, he's just, like, the very first enemy you fight. Like, he knows he's gonna get trounced. He's played this game before, he knows how it's gonna go. He's the level 1 enemy. I mean, he's gonna die. But, like, he's just so upbeat about it. And then you fight that spunky penguin, and it's like, he's the level 2 guy, and he's just, I mean, he's probably gonna lose, but he's gonna put up a fight. Like, he's in it to win it. And, I mean, he may not win, but bless his heart, he tries. And so, yeah, I can respect that. And then you've got, like, the Poochie level, which is just immensely calm. And it's just, it creates such a weird effect going from this upbeat track to this calm beat. And then, like, the music kind of rises and falls, and that kind of affects how the one-player mode feels. But then you get to Puzzle League, and it's all just like, oh, it's Tempa Bossa or whatever music it is. Or Bossa Nova. Well, granted, that's a track from Cross DS, but I mean, they kind of sound the same. There's not much personality at all. So, it's incredibly disappointing. And that game, I mean, I'll admit, it's very technically competent. It is the best rendition of Tetris Attack I've seen on a portable system, technically. But in terms of heart, it really doesn't have it. Because, I mean, even Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, like, yeah, okay, it's a Game Boy. It can't register, like, accurate SNES level sound. But it doesn't really need to, because it can draw on the rich tapestry of Pokemon Gold Silver sounds. And the Pokemon Gold Silver soundtrack, like, I didn't realize it until I played Pokemon Puzzle League over and over and over, but there are some good catchy songs in that soundtrack. But then you start playing like this Pokemon or this puzzle challenge or whatever, and it's just, where's all the music? Where's all the personality? It's all gone. That's what I want from one of these puzzle challenge games. Personality. At least a one-player mode with CPU opponents that get a little bit tougher as you keep fighting them. That's what I want. That's all I want in life. Once I get that, I can be fulfilled. Yeah, well, that's obviously an exaggeration. But now that I look back on that statement, it might not entirely be. So yeah, that's pretty much the current state of Tetris Attack at this day and age. I mean, here's hoping they make a new definitive version. I'm not holding my breath, of course, but a fellow can dream. Dreaming's not illegal. But, jeez. On the bright side, though, Puyo is doing relatively well. Puyo vs. Tetris was released recently, and I'm sure that's a whole new generation of, well, Tetris fans who play the game and realize, hey, maybe my hands aren't fast enough for Tetris anymore. Let's learn this Puyo thing. And then they get real good at Puyo, and they bring Puyo to the West. I will also not hold my breath, but at least there the games exist and the games are good. You start playing Tetris Attack and it's like, there's no hope. I don't even think they'll release Tetris Attack on the Virtual Console. That's how little hope I have. Sad days. Sad days. Man, this guy is just taking everything that we can throw at him, and a little more. A little more than I can give him. Yeah, the inevitable result. I mean, you play this game, and eventually you just get to this point where you're stuck. Well, so I guess you didn't need the super hard. The regular hard was just enough in this game. Wow. So there's one player and there's verse. There's not even stats. There's no stats, even. So, like, what's the point of trying? Or what's the point of playing? Where's my progress being recorded? Because you play Pokemon Puzzle League and, like, oh my god, they keep stats upon stats upon stats. It keeps track of, like, how many blocks, even. Like, not even just how many total blocks you've beaten, but how many, like, 4 chains, how many 4 combos, 5 combos, 6 combos, 3 chains, 7 chains, 8 chains, if you can do that. But this is just kind of... Honestly, some of these old-timey games are just basically arcade games. It's just you don't need to put any quarters in. Well, that was fun, but I think it's over now. So on that note, this cat's got a scat.